I'm a cowboy. On a steel horse I ride. I'm a wanted, dead or alive. Oh, hey everybody. 1 second. Ah, that's better. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another multi-voice reviewer. I am the multi-voice. I have many voices, but one opinion. And today, this will be the last of Guardians of the Galaxy retrospective, or Guardians of the Galaxy retro. And sadly, this graphic novel I got is not called Guardians of the Galaxy. This one is called The Thanos Imperative. And this is the final story of the Guardians of the Galaxy, except it doesn't have the Guardians in it. It's going to have the other space characters involved, and it does center around Thanos himself. So, without further ado, let's dig into Thanos Imperative and see how this would end. Differently, just like the Volume 3 of the movie, or maybe this would be a lot better than you think, huh? Let's get to it, shall we? Alright. Now, this all started with Thanos. Of course, the Thanos. The baddie. The bad guy of them all. This always brings a smile to my face. I'm sexy. Sorry, I like to do the city side of Thanos. But anyway, Thanos talked about the years that he went through. I mean, he was killed by Drax the Destroyer by having his heart ripped out of his chest. Thanos battling against the Silver Surfer and Galactus. Adam Warlock getting rid of him. And he just couldn't believe all that because all the hatred he gets. But now, Thanos is stuck in the space station known as... And of course, he also talked about when he was battling against Captain Marvel and, of course, Iron Man on Earth, and of course the event of the Infinity War, the biggest Marvel event ever made, all because of his love of Lady Death. And now Thanos is imprisoned in nowhere, and 3 of the members of the Guardians are staying watch: Moondragon, Mantis, and Cosmo. The talking dog. Now, Moondragon had to walk into one of the bases, and there was, of course, Star-Lord there, and also Rocket without Groot this time. And of course, as usual, Drax the Destroyer shows up, and he still wants to kill Thanos. I mean, after all, Drax the Destroyer was made to kill Thanos, so all he ever thinks about is trying to kill Thanos, and even telling Rocket to get out of his way. Nobody will never stop him for trying to kill Thanos. Wow, imagine that. Meanwhile, we have Nova, aka Richard Rider. He's chasing after this false Quasar, this evil version of Quasar, and I'll explain more about him soon because there's going to be other characters that is related that are involved with him. And of course, Nova is talking to other members of the Nova Corps, whatever was left. And then he starts contacting the real Quasar himself, named Walden Vaughn. That's the original OG Quasar. And then the member of the Shi'ar Empire Guards, known as the Gladiator, aka Karak. Now, one thing for those of you who don't know who is Gladiator, aka Karak. Karak, he is the Marvel version of Superman. I mean, he has the same powers and ability just like Superman. He's super strong, he can fly, he has laser vision, except the difference between him and Superman, Gladiator, he's purple skin with pointy ears and a mullet. And of course, Gladiator needs his help, so Quasar took off, while Nova is talking to Gladiator. Not Guardian, Gladiator, okay. And Nova was flying over, and all of a sudden found a bunch of Kree ships. And en route, he sees the Inhumens, led by Medusa. And of course, Ronan the Accuser is in it. And remember what I said in my last videos, Ronan is the good guy this time. And they get a connection from Blastar. And Blastar, he wants to attack the Kree. And even Medusa is telling Blastar not to attack the Kree because we got a bigger situation involved, a biggest threat of all. So he was like, alright, Your Majesty, whatever. Meanwhile, Nova is still chasing after that phony Quasar. And then he stumped into one of the ships. They start fighting against one another until a big explosion showed up. Out comes Magus, the evil version of Adam Warlock. If you remember in the last review, he stayed as Magus on my last review of Guardians of the Galaxy, so I guess he never turned back into Adam. He just stayed as Magus. And of course, Adam shoot his laser at Nova, and Nova ducked. And of course, the evil Quasar did the same thing. Until the real Quasar himself showed up and started battling against the fake Quasar. And now Magus starts fighting the real Quasar. And then all of a sudden we start seeing planets, they start forming a line. And of course, Magus had this plan. He had every single planet connected together in line, and then he got them all destroyed. He destroyed a whole rows of planets right in front of them. Right in front of Nova and Quasar. And even the Inhumens and the Shi'ar witness this, along with the Kree. Meanwhile, Mantis, she starts having a vibe. She starts seeing something wrong. Something has happened. And of course, even Bug is there. And even Major Victory shows up. Star-Lord was asking Mantis what's going on, and Mantis said something very bad just happened. And even Major Victory tell them that something's wrong and they need the Guardians' help. So they all marched in, and out comes Thanos, shattering his prison. Meanwhile, the real Quasar and Nova, they left. since all the planets was destroyed, they decided to leave, or else they're going to be destroyed. While Magus and the fake evil Quasar showed up, another character showed up into their presence, and this figure killed Magus. So now Adam Warlock is no more. And the one who killed Magus is none other than Lord Marvel. Now, for those of you who don't know who is Lord Marvel, he's from an alternate universe. He's from the universe called the Cancerverse. And the Cancerverse is run by these creatures that I knew the Guardians had encountered them on my last video, which they call themselves the Mini-Angle Ones. They're the Lovecraftian creature-like species from another galaxy. And then they cut back into the past during the event before the Guardians, the Annihilation War, and it showed Nova enjoying the campfire with Star-Lord. Now, as you can see from this Star-Lord, he was part machine back then, before they remove all that tech out of his body during the Annihilation series. Now, back to the present, Thanos grabbed Star-Lord by the throat and pinned him to the wall, while Star-Lord stepped firing his laser at him, but no effect. He almost killed Star-Lord until Rocket showed up with a giant mech suit that he was in. I guess with that giant mech suit, I wouldn't be surprised if Rocket's gonna do the "get away from her, you bitch" reference, except he'll be like, "Get away from him, you bastard!" But he starts telling Thanos about the situation. Turns out, death is dead. People haven't been dead. Most of them became immortal for some reason. And even Thanos is wondering why, until Mantis, Moondragon, and Cosmos, they knock Thanos out with their psychic beams. And then they contacted Gamora, Groot. I am Groot. And also Jack Flag. And start noticing that these ships are from another world, and they come from the Cancerverse. And it's destroying all the other ships that's coming to their way. Even the Inhumens are decided that they needed help. They need backup. The Inhumens need backup. So she's trying to... Medusa decided to call for help. Somebody out there for help. Even Ronan the Accuser got the message. And including Gladiator from the Shi'ar Empire, he's busy dealing with one of the creatures, the Mini-Angle Ones, along with the rest of the Shi'ar Empire guards. Because these creatures are busting into their ships. And then from a small distance, out we see my personal favorite, the Silver Surfer. Meanwhile, Lord Marvel and the evil Quasar are talking about some of the Mini-Angle Ones are destroying most of the ships in the galaxy. And of course it turns out that he imprisoned one of the Lady Deaths in his chamber. And then Lord Mar-Vell has his own army, the Revengers. Now, for those of you who wants to know who are the Revengers, they are the evil, sick, twisted version of the Avengers. They're from Earth 10011, from the Cancerverse. And it's the many-angle one who formed the Avengers, and their leader is, of course, Lord Mar-Vell. From their universe, they got rid of death, so everybody in their universe are all immortal. So nobody cannot die in that universe. And of course, they all have the pentagram on them, so Satan. Nah, Mephisto's not involved. Just those many-angle ones, those Lovecraftian creatures. Meanwhile, the Guardians, they chained Thanos up, trying to figure out what they're going to do to him. But of course, some of the Nova Corps and some of the other troops, they're all battling one by one against the many-angle ones. And of course, we even have Namoritia. She is cousin of Namor, the Submariner. So I guess she didn't stay at Atlantis. She decided to go out into space. And then the Revengers showed up, and they started taking down the rest of the Nova Corps and Quasar. I mean, this is a big battle here. So the Guardians have no chance but to release Thanos, because Thanos is knowing what's going on. And of course, we have Drax the Destroyer wearing his old-fashioned outfit that he used to wear when he was sent to kill Thanos. And of course, he decided to settle the dispute between him and Thanos, so they decided to kill these Revengers and the many-angle ones, and then they'll deal with each other. So, they all teleport, thanks to Cosmo, they all teleported, and there was the fight between the Revengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Meanwhile, Nova Corps, he's still flying about, dealing against those Angle ones and trying to save as many ships as they can, along with the help of Quasar, and all of a sudden the Silver Surfer showed up to join the fight. And then we have many of these Celestials standing guard along with the ships, and also we see Galactus. I guess when the Planet Eater's not busy eating planets, he does destroy other ships to save the galaxy. Meanwhile, the Guardians are still battling against those Revengers, and Revengers start showing their monstrous side. They start having a mouthful of fangs and spikes coming out of their shoulders. Even the Revenger version of the Hulk, he starts having goat horns coming out of his head. Even Cosmo took out the Revenger version of the Hulk, while Drax the Destroyer snapped the neck of the Revenger version of Namor. They pretty much took every single Revenger out one by one until there are two more left. One turned out to be an evil version of Valkyrie, Nighthawk, and even, well, she has red hair, so I guess she's a Revenger version of Black Widow. And Thanos got up, and he wiped every one of them out with his beam. So pretty much, Thanos used his powers and eliminate every single Revenger out there. And then from out of nowhere, out comes Vision. And even, and of course, Rocket couldn't trust Vision because he might be one of the Revengers. So he has his big gun pointing at him with a laser pointer. Meanwhile, two of the Revengers, Miss Marvel and Iron Man, they imprison Major Victory, but Major Victory tried to make his escape, but Lord Mar-Vell knocked him out and imprisoned him, along with the rest of the prisoners, a couple of the Shi'ar, and even Namorta. They put them in their prison ship. While meanwhile, some of the Celestials are using their powers to knock out the mini-angle ones, while Quasar, Nova, and Silver Surfer trying to wipe out the rest. And then from out of nowhere, from their surprise, a Galactus engine showed up through the other side of the world. I guess in the Cancerverse, they infected Galactus and turned him into a ship. Damn. But some of the Angle ones are starting to get to one of the, trying to get to one of the Celestials, which is a big golden woman. Now, Silver Surfer, Quasar, and Nova are trying their best to wipe all of them out. And, of course, Nova's trying to save that one Celestial, that golden woman. But sadly, one of the Angle ones got to her and eliminated her. And she exploded. So Thanos got into their ship's computer, trying to download this whole thing, trying to get some information. And here's the origin about the Cancerverse of the Revengers. Turns out, long time ago, the Mentor, who is Thanos' dad from the Cancerverse, who created Mar-Vell, and according to the screen, you see Mar-Vell was dying. But in the Cancerverse, all the Avengers members were gathering around him while he was on his deathbed. And then, one thing Doctor Strange did, he come upon the creatures from another world to help him bring him back to life. And he did. They brought Mar-Vell back to life, and then, boom, they all became the Revengers. Where they all have immortality, even though they're being all twisted and demonic creatures with sharp teeth. And, I mean, I would imagine they'll all be like... And, of course, in their universe, they found death and killed her. Meanwhile, in the prison area called the normal spaceship sanctuary, where all their prisoners are at, they force them to go where they're supposed to. And even Revenger's Iron Man tries to hit on Scarlet Witch, the Revenger's version of Scarlet Witch, but she was like, I have no time. Meanwhile, they had to leave this battle, so all that's left is the Shi'ar, the Inhumens, and the Kree, and Quasar trying to have a talk to them, and they start trying to kill each other. But Nova put a stop to it and tell them that we have enough problems trying to fight over each other compared to the biggest threat we have here. So now Nova decided to elite the same group of members during the Annihilation series. So it's Nova. So it's going to be the usual team: Quasar, Betaway Bill. For those of you who don't know who Betaway Bill, he's like an alien version of Thor. He's one of those horse face aliens who all of a sudden found an intergalactic Mjolnir, and when he grabbed the hammer, he had powers like Thor. So he's supposed to be like a cosmic, galactic version of Thor. And of course, the usual: Gladiator, Nova, Silver Surfer, and Ronan the Accuser. It's their time to put a stop to the mini angle ones. And after all the information of the Avengers was complete, now, as usual, Drax still wants to kill Thanos. And even though most of the members of the Guardians is telling Drax to stop it, he won't listen. He still wants to kill him. So he planted a bomb right in his chest, and the bomb detonated, exploded, and it almost wiped Thanos out. Pretty much wiped Thanos out. Meanwhile, the Avengers, Lord Mar-Vell, imprisoned Namorita and started to interrogate her, torture her, to get some information that she knows. But Barry Bill, Gladiator, Silver Surfer, Ronan, Nova, and Quasar showed up for the rescue. They all showed up, and they were just busting in and taking down the Avengers. Whatever's left of them. And it was just like a huge fight. And even Giant Man grabbed Namorita, and Lord Mar-Vell told him, one step further, Namorita will die in the evil Giant Man's hand. So Quasar showed up and formed a slingshot and shot the evil Giant Man right in the head, while Nova attacked Lord Mar-Vell. And he almost knocked Nova out, but Silver Surfer grabbed Mar-Vell, and Mar-Vell took him out. Quasar shielded Namorita with the cosmic shielding. I mean, it's a straight up showdown between Lord Mar-Vell and Nova. Until Lord Mar-Vell gained the upper hand by grabbing him by the back of the throat, about ready to kill him. Meanwhile, Thanos is dead, and now his skeletal remains. Star-Lord is really pissed at what Drax did, but Rocket was like, hey guys, check this out. And all of a sudden, Thanos' skeletal all of a sudden starts coming back to life, and the entrail grew back, and his whole entire body grew back. Now, Thanos is back to life. I think it's because he's still in that universe where death doesn't exist. And Drax wants to kill him again, and Vision kept telling him, no, don't do it again! And even Gamora said, Drax, don't be a fool! But of course, Thanos gained the upper hand. Thanos grabbed him by the throat and killed Drax, vaporizing him permanently. Meanwhile, Lord Marvel, it looked like he did kill Nova, but it turns out Nova is alive. Since Lord Marvel disappeared with the evil Quasar, Giant Man, and Miss Marvel, their version, the Revengers. Meanwhile, all the other members free the prisoners along with Major Victory. And Namorta decided to join with them when they're taken off into space. But sadly, the prison... I mean, Lord Marvel, his hologram showed up and he says, "Oh, one more thing." And he destroyed the prison. Meanwhile, Thanos, he had his victory by killing Drax the Destroyer. And now the other members of the Avengers showed up and they killed the Vision. Cut him in half. And of course, the Revengers version of Scarlet Witch says, "Revengers, take them!" And now the Guardians are battling against the Revengers, while Mantis is saving Thanos from all the arrows that the Revengers version of Hawkeye was shooting. And then all of a sudden, the Revengers version of the Scarlet Witch saw Vision's body. And she cannot believe what happened. And it was her team's doing. So now she feels really bad over Vision's death. So now she used her powers, and instead of killing the Guardians, she killed the Revengers for what they did to Vision. Wiped every single one of them. She didn't want Vision's death because she still loves him. I guess in other universes there are different versions of Vision that the Scarlet Witch still loves. And now she's telling the Guardians good luck. She starts teleporting them. Meanwhile, there was this big orb covered in Captain America's shield, and out comes the usual team. I guess they shielded themselves while Lord Marvel destroyed the prison. The prison ship. Meanwhile, all the Celestials are battling against the Galactus engine. So now the usual team, and also they visit the Inhuman and the Shi'ar. And of course, Beastar, and of course Groot is with them. And Nova decided to go to find Star-Lord. Find Star-Lord and the remaining members of the Guardians. And even though Medusa told him to stop, he said, "You're all having a battle. Good luck." So while Nova is walking away, Quasar decided to stop him. But one thing that Nova did to Quasar, he gave Quasar an extra helmet. So now Quasar has the Nova power along with Nova. And So now, Nova said to Quasar, "Give him hell, buddy. I'll see you when we're done." So they went to the rubbish pile area, all the scraps from the battle. And here are the members of the Guardians: Star-Lord, Rocket, Mantis, Gamora, and Cosmo, along with Thanos. They're in this planet full of the rubble of all the ships during the battle. And then more Avengers showed up, and this is a good one. Somehow, Lord Marvel knew Thanos, and Thanos knew Lord Marvel. So when Thanos saw Lord Marvel, he was like, "Marvel!" And Lord Marvel saw Thanos and going like, "Thanos!" And Star-Lord holding the back of his head. He was going like this. Oh, shit. Meanwhile, at their base, Major Victory, Nova, and Namorta got a message from Star-Lord. It was a message that he sent before they went to their mission. And then the message was over. Time to Nova decided to go and help Star-Lord. And of course, Namorta gave Nova a hug and told her that he loves her, that she loves him, and telling him good luck. And Major Victory activated the machine and teleported him. Meanwhile, Lord Marvel and Thanos are going at it, while the rest of the Guardians are battling against the Avengers. And Thanos, he was about ready to kill Marvel, but something kind of stopped him. And even Star-Lord and Rocket wondering what's going on. Thanos is getting weak. So Lord Marvel had the upper hand. He summoned the mini-angle one's tentacles to capture Thanos and the Guardians. And a big giant angle creature there. Ugh. Hate to see one of those in space. And surprisingly, he used a cosmic power and got himself an infinity gauntlet and formed a sword coming out of his hand and stabbed Thanos right in the heart with his sword. Meanwhile, Galactus struck the final blow to destroy the Galactus engine, while the rest of the Shi'ar, Silver Surfer, Bay Away Bill, Kree, Inhumens are all wiping out the rest of the creatures. Nova showed up and he yelled out, "Star-Lord!" And Nova knocked out the Avenger version of Thor and even wiped out the rest of the Avengers, while at the same time Marvel stuck in his sword right into Thanos' chest. Maybe Thanos was right. You should have gone for the head. And then Lady Death showed up. But when Lady Death showed up, she gave Lord Marvel death. And he vaporized into a skeleton. So Lord Marvel is no more. Along with the rest of the Avengers, they're all wiped out. Lady Death showed up and she killed every single angle one. I mean, many angled ones and the Avengers out from existence. So now, the war, the battle, it's over. And Thanos thanked Lady Death. But Thanos, he's trying to prove his love to her, but Lady Death is all like... Even a tear came out of his face, even though he starts showing his compassion. But this is a final battle, so Nova... I mean, they know that Thanos is going to do his something evil since the Avengers are no more. So, Star-Lord and Nova decided to stop Thanos, while the rest of the Guardians got teleported away back to their base. And even Rocket says, "Star-Lord is still here, you idiot!" So, Nova and Star-Lord, using his Tesseract, they both went up to Thanos, and Thanos was about ready to kill those two. So, Star-Lord and Nova did something remarkable. They decided to sacrifice themselves to stop Thanos. And a big boom, big flash just showed up, and then just... Thanos, Nova, and Star-Lord are gone. Now in the Shi'ar area, there's a memorial service for those who died. And there was a statue of Black Bolt. I guess he must have died from one of the issues I didn't read. And then during the rest of the memorial, there's a statue of Adam Warlock, Drax the Destroyer, and of course his daughter, Falavel. That Moondragon still mourns over, but Gamora comfort her. While Rocket and Quasar, they went to the memorial of Nova and Star-Lord. And now Rocket becomes in charge of the Guardians now. So I guess Rocket be the Star-Lord, huh? And then after that, the Inhumens, turns out that Blastar is still attacking the Kree, and the Inhumans are trying to protect the Krees. I guess Blastar still wants to destroy the Kree Empire. But Cosmo and Silver Surfer showed up. They showed up, and the rubble... I guess the battle between Blastar and the Inhuman was over. Because right now, Bay Ray Bill is fixing the remains of the rubble. And now, Gladiator is now in charge of the Shi'ar now. And Cosmo showed up and decided to tell Gladiator something about what happened. So during that battle between Blastar and Medusa, it was intense. Until Blastar was about ready to kill Medusa, but the usual members, Gladiator, Ronan, Quasar, Silver Surfer, Barry Bill, and Cosmo showed up. And Quasar said, "Shall we take this outside?" And Blastar was going to say, "Oh, shit." And Gladiator knocked out Blastar. Ronan the Accuser knocked out his army. Bay Ray Bill destroyed their machines. And Silver Surfer destroyed their ships. So now, the Inhumans are now safe, along with the Kree. And they're giving Blastar a choice. Either die fighting or surrender. Meanwhile, they were doing a backstory telling us that Nova and Star-Lord are not exactly dead, because after the Guardians disappeared, Cosmo stayed behind, and Cosmo knew what Star-Lord and Nova was going to do before the Guardians got teleported. And Star-Lord tell them they know what they're supposed to do, and Cosmo says, duh. And Star-Lord said, you're a good boy, Cosmo. So now in nowhere, Gladiator, Bay Ray Bill, Quasar, Silver Surfer, and Ronan, they start exploring the nowhere to see if there's anything that needs to be helped. And then from out of nowhere, a big flash showed up. And then there was Icon from Icon the Space Knight. Now, one thing I know about Icon and the Space Knight, if any of you remember back in the 70s, she was a member of the Space Knight from that comic book series that Marvel used to own, Rom the Space Knight. And they made the comic to endorse that action figure that they made back in the 70s. But now, Rom is owned by Hasbro, and IDW now owns Rom. Just like Bug, who is a part of the Micronauts. And that's all the end of this book. Now, this series is not bad. A little iffy on the cliffhanger, especially with Icon there. But all in all, it was a good story. And of course, after that comic book, that's when the Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out. And now there's this new studio who calls himself Now Marvel, and made their own version of the Guardians of the Galaxy with Tony Stark as a new member of the Guardians. And you know, since I've been talking about the Silver Surfer, there's one thing I want to talk about. I heard that the MCU is making their version of the Fantastic Four, and now they're planning to make the Silver Surfer a woman. What the hell, man? I mean, jeez. You know, this is exactly what Stan Lee feared about. They take his story and they butchered it. Just to piss him off because they don't give a rat's ass. Just like what I said on my Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 review. Seriously, MCU, quit pissing off the fucking fans. Seriously. You're pissing me off, and you're going to be pissing more. For those of you who likes the story of if you enjoyed all three of the stories of the retrospective of the Guardians of the Galaxy, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe for more. And don't go away, because there are more videos I'm going to be doing. There's things I'm going to be talking about. And of course, I got a big surprise. I'm going to give you a big surprise on my birthday in June 4th. And then in October 14th would be my anniversary of my show. So, without further ado, I'm the multi-voice reviewer. I remember so I can jog your memory. I went to the
Danger Zone. Ba-dum, ba-dum.